That is one side for the electoral umpire. Let us look at party activities. If intra-party primaries, could be deeply flawed, vicious, chaotic, polarizing, and bloody, what should we expect when election, in the middle of election, during election, when the stakes will be very much higher?
Well, I think we can only pray that it doesn't get that bad, because that is why, for me as a person, right, I don't really subscribe to all of this signing of these peace accords and all of these agreements. All of that is just the media frenzy. What we would expect during the main election will be a direct product of the body language, the attitude, and the behind the door meetings of these major aspirants and what they tell other aspirants. This is not to quote any particular person, but the quote is universal and acceptable. When a politician realizes, or when an aspirant or a candidate, so to say, realizes that nobody's ambition is worth anybody's blood, that you are contesting for an election should just stop at presenting yourself to serve and not to instigate any form of violence. And like the Africans popularly say, when you throw stone into the market, you don't know who is going to hit. So let us not perpetuate violence, because you don't know who is going to be a casualty, who is going to be a victim of that violence. So I would just want to call on the major aspirants to go indoors with their party stalwarts, their party officials, their supporters and everything, and continue to conscientize them that the election is not about violence. It's not a do or die affair, as President Buhari also said in recent times. So that is what we need to do, but without pretense. I've been in practical politics for a long time. It is not about the thug in the street. It's about the candidate that is contesting and the political elite, because they fuel whatever the thug is doing. Right. If the thug is violent, or if you say the voter is violent, it is fueled by them. If the voter is peaceful, it's also fueled by them. So we should concentrate more on them. It's like this Pareto principle. 80% of the problem is them. It is 20% of the problem that is the boy in the streets.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so now if you are concerned about what the politicians will be doing themselves, the activities of the politicians, which will of course lead to what the thugs, those who are the loyalists, will be doing on the road. Now we have a new IG in town, who is a new sheriff in town, let me just put it that way, who is saying that I'm going to be fair to all the parties, everyone that is contesting. But do you think, or what exactly can be done to ensure that policing is done properly and it won't come out to look like they are supporting one political party against the other?
Well, I think what the IG needs to do is to stay true to what he has just said. The IG has just resumed. We have not been able to really judge his character, his attitude, his police culture with respect to his assumption as IG. The time is just too short. But we can only pray that the institution is permitted to work for all and not for anybody. Because the truth is, after all, we all need that Nigeria for him to be an IG. Right. You also need that Nigeria for you to have a media station here. So everybody should concentrate on working towards that better Nigeria. So let's just give the IG the time. However, the IG has inherited, as much as he has inherited assets, he has also inherited liabilities. Liabilities in the form of negative vibes and negative attitudes that is embedded in the police.
Seem to have seen him in action, actually.
Well, that's why I say it's too early to judge him. Don't forget that the problems of the police didn't start with the IG. Right. And don't forget that, yes, everybody can come and mouth anything against the police, but you know that they are a force that has not been supported the way they are supposed to be supported.
Okay, because of our little time, let me just quickly ask you this very last question before we close the program. One thing, I don't know how worried you are. Last election, we didn't have much of political parties to contend in, for the election. Now we're having many politicians who are coming on board, many parties who are registering their candidates. Are you worried how long the ballot paper would be? Because for me, I'm thinking it might be as long as my praying mat, and how confusing it would be for the electorates to choose their parties.
Well, I am really worried. For me as a person, I'm an advocate of very few parties, you understand, so that voters can really concentrate. Look at the Americas. It's either you are blue or you are a red state. By that I mean you are Democrat or you are you are a Republican. You come to the UK too, it's either you are the Tory or you are the Labour. You have one or two. But for Nigeria, you have a catalogue of political parties, and it's somehow confusing. However, it's okay. It may have given potency to the debate that give everybody the space to deal with. But the most important thing, especially for the presidency, I see just about two candidates. Respect to other candidates, which is the candidate of the
At least that's what
APC
you see, your opinion.
and the PDP. You get what I'm trying to say? So I think with respect to the presidency, people should concentrate more on those areas, because votes going to other areas, for me, it's marginal. But in other local elections, like I went through Imo State yesterday, I've seen very tough candidates in about 4 to 5 political parties. So these are the things that the ballots, the voters may have to deal with. But in all, let the voters listen to the manifesto and the persons and the person that is contesting. That is what is important, because it doesn't matter the party is coming from. If your ideologies are right, if your ideologies are what will sustain and survive, promote and protect this nation, irrespective of your party, you should be voted for. So the electorate should concentrate more on the candidate and trace the candidate to the flag of the party the candidate is flying. Well,
that's a very good take home. Thank you so much, policy analyst and social commentator Alfred Kemepado.